am I the co-host or are you the co-host?
I think we're both the co-hosts. This is the real host.
That's true. It's the pod. It doesn't talk. It just kind of grins at you.
Yeah, he's smiling. He's in the middle. Welcome back to the pod. Agreed. So another week, another set of Yu-Gi-Oh news. I know somebody commented that we always start with the same it's a really slow week in Yu-Gi-Oh.
And then we talk about Yu-Gi-Oh!
And then we end up talking about it for a while.
40 minutes.
Well, this isn't exactly a slow week. There's been a few different things.
But I feel like a lot of them are small.
Yeah, they're small things that maybe add up to some big things.
I feel like we should start with the TCG and then
work our way down
from there. Since, TCG is like the main thing.
Okay, so I think the big thing was that these tins, the tin of Dueling Heroes.
Yeah.
So much and yet maybe so little to say about these.
There are world premieres.
Yeah, so these are tins. They're coming out next week. And they have some world premiere cards. They've got some reprints. There's some quarter century secret rare cards in this.
Which ones are promos? I never actually understood what are promo cards in these.
My understanding is that the promos are basically all those ace cards. All the Odd Eyes, Pendulum Dragon, Neos,
and those
Cyber
come in
Dragon,
25th anniversary, right?
Yeah,
25th foiling.
Yeah, you get one of them per 10, and it's in 25th, quarter century secret rare foiling. Already off the bat, there was a weird thing because the Red Eyes Black Dragon art on the 10 itself does not match the art that was seemingly pulled by one of the content creators who did their early openings.
Yeah, that kind of got my wires crossed because I have the 25th anniversary from the
anniversary collection,
from the collection, which is that kind of dark Red Eyes art that I don't like as much as the original.
Yeah, and yet on the 10 it shows that same one, but then the one that Cyber Knight, I believe, is the guy who pulled it. On his video,
it's starter deck Red Eyes.
It's like the starter deck Red Eyes.
Superior.
So I don't know what that's about.
Someone in marketing needs
someone kind of in production maybe messed up. I mean, my suspicion is that maybe these were just made so long ago that they
didn't even know which one they were using.
Maybe they just got mixed up. I will say about those promo things. Do you ever feel like they kind of overdo it a bit with these just reprinting these ace monsters and stuff so much?
I mean, I feel like it's overdone, but it's purely in my own self-interest kind of way. I feel like they're overdone because I want 3 25th century Neoses, and there's way too many cards that I can get instead of Neos.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. I don't dislike the idea of doing promos like this. I just think that people were probably... Do you remember the 2019 tins? Nibiru, Dark Ruler No More, Dimension
How could
Shifter.
I forget? We did the world premiere for those cards.
Yeah, that was really awesome. I feel like we need to kind of get back to promos like that.
But I guess maybe there's a certain pressure to releasing heavily meta impact cards every year. Maybe they just can't do that. Maybe there's some weird rule in card game design that you can't do that.
Yeah, I think that they really, or just something that's a little bit better than just another Dark Magician. Come on.
I mean, I feel
we're not even done talking about Dark Magician in this podcast.
We're not?
Yeah, because there's another.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But anyway.
Right. I mean, I feel like we're running out of ways to print this guy. I mean, we've invented a new rarity. He's immediately available in that rarity. And then I remember we got the Gaia Dark Magician Fusion thing.
Yeah, that came out this year.
And it's okay, so what else can we do with him? He's fused with everything.
Yeah, and it's just the same. Anyway. Okay, well, those are the promo cards you can get. Now, as for what's actually in the tin, the reprints and all that, that's all been revealed. I know it was leaked a while back before, but yeah. So the reprints in this tin are a little bizarre. I think to set the stage, though, I have to first say that this 10 is almost certainly going to either be followed by or follow a ban list, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's
either going to be probably a ban list next week, right before they drop, or a week or two after they drop. And so that always kind of makes these 10s a little bit of a complicated value proposition because what they're reprinting are all the things from the past year.
But typically we pull them anyway because they're great staples and whatnot from the past year that, we don't really have.
And that, I think, is where these 10s are missing. They don't actually have any staple cards in them, really. Not many. I didn't see... Because Triple Tactics Thrust came out this year, at the very beginning of this year, so technically it couldn't have been in those 10s.
Oh.
There's just not... I think maybe what it really says
Div Incarnate.
I don't even think she's in there actually.
Okay, what is in the tin?
I think that was a thing I saw. Is I don't really know like what the staples in this tin are supposed to be, and so it sort of feels like you're only really getting these tins to get the specific archetypes. And as far as the archetypes go, it's a tricky proposition because like they put almost all the Cashdera cards that are in this tin are secret rares. So they got like upgraded to secret rare. There's like a secret rare Fin rare, secret rare, Unicorn, Birth. I think even Ogre.
But they're almost assuredly going to get hit.
Yeah, but we almost can be certain, right? Like that's going to get hit. So like how much? Is that like a good buy? And then the same kind of goes like some branded stuff got rarity bumps. A funny story: branded Expulsion is in this set, in this tin, despite being banned.
Well, when they decided to put it in the tin, they probably hadn't banned it yet.
This plus that Red Eyes issue actually makes me think that these tins were like around like 6 months ago. Like they had been designed and like printed and everything just finalized, and they just didn't know that, or maybe they're gonna unban branded Expulsion.
Is this
I don't know.
a ban list prediction video?
It's turning into one. So yeah, I think that these tins this year kind of feel like a little bit of a letdown. I don't think that they're bad. I was hoping for more rarity upgrades for Dogmatica myself personally. I like the deck.
And you're like one of the 4 players of Dogmatica.
And they didn't rarity upgrade it. They rarity upgraded Dogmatica Macabre from a common to a rare.
So it did get a rarity bump.
Yeah, I know. I'm complaining too much. I'm ungrateful. You got a few good ones, though, because you can pick up some. Actually, I don't think the ninjas really got upgrades, but the Draco Slayers and the. What's the other one? The other deck that you played? Adventure Token? I know you were
Adventure? What did they print for Adventure at this point?
They printed a lot of them in Secret Rare.
I don't want them.
So
I also don't want upgrades for any of those decks. So
not the product for you.
Yeah, not really. I want Neos.
Hey, you'll have to just open a lot of tins and maybe you'll get 3 of them.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with the cards though. That's gonna be the.
How much are these? I think these tins are like $22.99 now, or $21.99, $22.99. I need to check the price.
Guys, I've never been a proponent of like just buy singles, but man,
I mean,
because the only thing I want from the tin is the quarter century Neos, and typically tin promos bottom out in price like pretty bad.
So you get 3 mega packs and you get your promo. I'm not gonna say it's not worth it. I'm gonna say though that like this is probably gonna be one of those ones where the pool of cards is so big that when you open your tins, you probably will not be getting, like you don't have a great chance of just getting what you want.
But what is it that we want?
And for any given person, it's like their one archetype that they maybe are looking for rarity upgrades for. So if you're one of the people who wants those rarity upgrades for like Draco Slayers or Adventure Token or Cashdera, bless your heart, or there's a few others, then yeah, like it's cool, although it really does feel like maybe more of a buy singles type of tin.
Oh, I do want the world premieres though. We haven't talked about those.
That's true. Yeah, what's that about? I know
there's the Noble Knight Field spell, Camelot, whose effect I don't actually recall, but I did like what I saw. When I did read, I did like it.
I don't recall it, but I liked it.
Hey, look, I don't remember most things. You leave me alone. Y'all leave me alone too. All right. There was Camelot. Then there was the Spiral Double Agent.
Yeah, that one was cool. So I think aesthetically, he's supposed to be. What's the name of the big guy? Sleeper?
Yeah, like Sleeper.
Sleeper, maybe when Sleeper was like much younger.
Because I think in the lore of Spiral, you kind of see it in that one Spiral Link monster with the 2 guys on it.
Yeah, Double Helix.
On Double Helix that they used that Sleeper was a Spiral agent. So I think that is him, and I was like, hey, I bet he summons your opponent's side of the field, and that's exactly what he does. Is he the best Spiral card in the world? No, that card is Master Plan, who needs to come back. But
my assumption is maybe they'll bring her back since like they're releasing a Spiral card.
Just to one. That's all I ask.
Just to one.
I'll play Spiral if you give me one Beehive Lady. And then the last card in the set,
the Time Thief.
Yes, the Time Thief Trap, which on first view is underwhelming, but on second view, you're like, well, it's kind of a perfect Spiral card, honestly.
You mean Time Thief card?
I get, for some reasons, Time Thief and Spiral gets mixed up in my head. Some of their aesthetics are similar. Vibe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the perfect Time Thief card. I mean, you want traps underneath your Xyz monster. That gives him the effect to remove something off the board as a quick effect, so that's great. But at the same time, there weren't many great traps to be running. But also, this card is a one-card Xyz play when you actually can use it. This the downside is on turn 1 you have to set it, and you have to survive. Then on your next turn you can use it to make a new monster.
Yeah, it runs into that Yu-Gi-Oh problem of like traps being so promising, but then just being slow and like.
But it does have an effect in Grave, which gives you an extra removal on your opponent's turn.
Yeah, I can banish something, I believe.
Yeah, it does not come back. It's just banished. It's gone now.
It's a really cool thing.
Like, so I really like this trap. It's a perfect Time Thief card, but it's not the Time Thief card that makes them meta all of a sudden, right? It just makes them a little bit better.
A little more fun to play. I mean, I think that these are, if you're interested in these decks, these are fun things to mess around with. I know a lot of people have been saying that they're underwhelming. And like, I guess true.
They are. I mean,
but I think if you're like kind of you just play these decks for fun, or
it's kind of sad. It's almost any support for any archetype kind of has to be underwhelming because there's only one thing we really want. We want support that takes our deck up a tier. That's what we want.
Yeah.
And the way card games work, they can't do that. They can't just keep giving us support for archetypes that immediately make them meta, because then that breaks down the structure of a meta game.
I mean, yeah, I would say like it does give me a sense of melancholy, because it means that when cards like this are revealed, even if they're fun, they will be seen as garbage, because at the end of the day, like you said, if it's not like a more extreme version of what you just said would probably be what people truly want for Time Thieves is some one card combo starter. Like that's what almost every deck kind of wants, is like this one card where like when it's normal or special summoned, you add one to your hand, send one to the grave, and then get like a free and it kind of does everything, and then when it's in the grave, you can banish it to like summon another from your deck, because that's the standard in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like that it's like your deck kind of has to like do everything. It can't be a trap off the bat, right? Because that's too slow. It can't be anything that's kind of like recycly or just protection. It's got to be something proactive,
immediately usable on the first turn, and it's a benefit if it can be used later in the game too. But the more useful a card is on turn 1, the better we view it as, because that's kind of the most important turn in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, and so I made a video about that earlier this week on Amplifier. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
Check it out. We'll link it or something.
That's the same like issue that like I have with a lot of sets, where the support will be cool, but like these decks don't have a place where they can be consistently like where they can be comfortably played. Mm-hmm. Because the thing is, that Time Thief trap should be really interesting, but the thing is, like, Time Thief already is not a top tier deck, or even by most means, it's not even really like a rogue deck.
Hey, but. Their Xyz monster has been in topping decks.
Yeah, it's Time Thief TR Elements.
But he's found his way into some decks.
But yeah, so I mean, what ends up kind of happening is like there would be no reason to run Time Thieves, and so as a result,
his name had escaped me.
Yeah, and so as a result, people just see new Time Thief support and they're like, this just sucks. But like, maybe if there was a format where people could play low power decks where getting to the second turn wasn't such a like big issue.
I feel like we're getting back into a conversation that we continuously have, and I'm going to support that by bringing in one of my recent favorite decks, Evil Tiles. I love the new Evil support that we got in Duelist Nexus, and it's a lot of the same problem, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make them good. The support just made them made them a little bit more modern, made them a little bit better.
Yeah, so it would be nice, Konami, if maybe there was a place where, the standard was not make huge board of Apollosa, Barone, and like 2-3 other interruptions all in one turn, and maybe
set up 2 floodgates, two and 2 other traps, and
maybe something where like getting to turn 3 or 4 or 5 was like doable. So now when you release traps, they can be seen as decent. I'm going to digress from this argument because you guys have heard enough out of me about it. It might continue later on, who knows? But those are the 10s.
Yeah.
Are they worth it? I'm going to say probably not. I mean, not to say you shouldn't maybe pick one up just for fun or something like that.
We're just saying maybe it's not the product to be buying like a case of.
Yeah, I don't think I would be buying like a load of it. Have a little bit of fun, see what you get, whatever. But like, there really does not seem to be like a big chase, a specific chase card. So
it feels weird that we have this kind of trend going of kind of underwhelming products.
Yeah,
I know we've talked about it before, but now we're adding the 10 to that.
It does suck that it's coming at the worst possible time. Like when the conversation is already not great right now around like products and Yu-Gi-Oh! And now we get these announcements of these 10s and like they're underwhelming too. And it's just like, man, come on. Because it also means that like more and more pressure is slowly being put on like that rarity collection and like Age of Overlord to kind of like swoop in at the end of the year and like save the day.
When does the 2-player starter set come out? Because I know that one has anticipation as well.
So the 2-player deck I think is sometime in October, like early October.
So now we're looking at you too.
So I'm interested in that.
Gives us Zeus.
I'm interested in. I know that Age of Overlord is like towards the end of October, and then Rarity Collection I think is November.
So guys, fall Yu-Gi-Oh will be saved. Late fall.
That's right. Mark your calendars. Yu-Gi-Oh will definitely be saved. We can put all the pressures on these products to perform.
We're gonna put a cape on Konami's back in the fall or late fall.
So outside of card game products, there are a couple of others. So first, there's the Merrick Millennium Rod.
Oh yeah,
by Bandai.
It's in the same vein as that Millennium puzzle that was announced a few months ago.
Yeah, they're making the Merrick Millennium Rod. I think in typical Bandai fashion, the build quality will probably be great.
At least from the images look amazing.
Yeah, that actually reminds me. We did a live stream over on the main channel where we put together the Exodia like plastic model kit thing.
Yeah, the figurized, standard, amplified Exodia Incarnate.
Shout out to everybody who tuned into the stream. It was a kind of mellow one.
It had to be. We were just like kind of messing around with little plastic pieces the whole time.
It did turn out looking good.
Yeah, it's actually a great looking model, and I've decided that I'm gonna go back and like do some panel lining on it, see if I can like spruce it up a bit.
Yeah, really good thing. It only costs about $50 if you get it in Japan, like I did. If you get it on like say eBay, you might be paying closer to $100. Although I will say that I think for what you get, it's a pretty nice product. Like it's fun to build, looks good.
If I had to compare it to a type of model kit, like if for like Gunpla builders out there, this model reminded me of a scale 1/100 high grade model kit. So you guys might be familiar with high grades. They're 1/144. They're usually small, but for the Iron Blooded Orphans Gunpla release, they did 1/100 high grade, where it's about the same level of detail, which isn't like amazing, but they're larger to that master grade scaling. Mm-hmm. But this one's really nice because especially in the upper body of Exodia, there's actually quite a bit of detail. Mm-hmm. And it looks better than a high grade kit. Not quite master grade, but it looks better than a high grade.
It's also posable, which is very cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
Lots of poly caps. It has lots of flexibility. Though one of its shoulders, we didn't. I'm probably don't like.
We didn't build it. We didn't do a great.
We're doing it on camera, guys. So we didn't do everything you normally do.
It took a couple hours to make, though. I would definitely say build it. It is a good experience as a Yu-Gi-Oh player. I know that when we put together the Millennium Puzzle, I also really enjoyed that, as difficult as it was.
I don't know. I feel like around hour 6, I was over it.
The Millennium Puzzle took a bit. But I will say this. It was a good thing. I would suggest getting it, unlike perhaps another product. So another product might or might not be the new Platinum Dark Magician Dark Magician, whatever the thing they call it, the Platinum Collection series. They announced a Platinum Dark Magician. And so I have to give a disclaimer right off the bat. So we did do a Konami sponsored
not we
plug. Well,
I didn't participate.
You shot the video. You held the camera.
Oh, I sure did.
Yeah, we.
All right, we did do that.
Yeah, it's on Facebook, Instagram, where we're just kind of telling people, hey, here's what the product is. You can go and buy it. I was very careful in my wording of that, though, because I have kind of mixed personal views on this product. They're not all good. It's $1,300 for this sort of silver platinum looking,
I want one.
Oh, here, you can have one. You can have the one that Konami gave us for 5 minutes to record and then took back.
Yeah, we never get the expensive stuff for free.
Yeah. You don't get much for free, to be honest. But
we got a box once.
Yeah, that's true. Konami has sent a box. We should be grateful. Yeah, okay, so the Platinum Dark Magician, it's like the Platinum Blue Eyes that they released a few years back during quarantine or whatever. This time it's $1,300 instead of $1,000 for this sort of brushed aluminum finish, whatever, brushed silver finish, whatever they call it.
Is Dark Magician worth $300 more than Blue Eyes?
I mean, I suppose their excuse would be that it's adjusted for inflation, but I don't think
How much could inflation have changed between this year and last year?
Well, actually a lot, as we know, but...
Oh, well, maybe so.
But that said, okay, so here's where my complaints with this product come in. But first, I'll say the good. The good is that as a product for a collector of a certain kind, this is probably pretty cool, right? There is a certain type of Yu-Gi-Oh collector who would like this. They're in the market for it. They're only making 1,000 of them.
And for some people, the more expensive the product, the better.
Yeah, so, like it's certainly a way to show your love for Dark Magician or Yu-Gi-Oh or all that great stuff. However, I think that the price is just too high. I already don't know that I see a lot of value in the product itself. Like, I think that there are things that you can get, like the Merrick Millennium rod, that are like going to be like $60 or whatever, that are actually more meaningful to a Yu-Gi-Oh fan. Or, build the Exodia thing and have a little experience, like putting together a model kit and paying like $50-$60 for that, right? Or the Millennium Puzzle, or just other things. These, I guess you can display them, these platinum cards. I mean, that's like where it ends. I don't know that they're really great value for anybody. Like, if you have a lot of money to burn, I'm sure it looks cool. Like, I mean, I got to hold one. It's got the weight, it's got the heft. The finish is nice, but like,
And Paul, what is your experience with collecting like memorabilia of this nature?
So as for me, when it comes to like, getting Yu-Gi-Oh kind of stuff, and I get stuff for other things I like too. I've gotten like a lot of first four figures Yu-Gi-Oh things. I also have like a Sonic one, like the sort of statue dioramas.
So what makes this different from those?
What I don't like about this, and what I think makes this different, is that it kind of feels like it's more so forced scarcity, and it's there, it's hard to put into words, but I think that with card game memorabilia, I don't know that I would want a platinum version of a card that I can't like play, and that it's just kind of plaqued, and it's not the real card. It's just a platinum rendition of the. Something about it feels like it doesn't hit with me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that I would really want these for my collection. The stuff that I'm more like this, right? This is like more fun Yu-Gi-Oh memorabilia for me to collect. This is a Dragon Capture jar.
It's a rabbit.
Right? There's a rescue rabbit. There are monsters and cards and stuff that are used and or like have like kind of a history. And they're physical things you can hold that are like in the form of, you know what I mean? Like it's a plush rescue rabbit. It's like we've got the Pod of Greed. These platinum things.
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of this product personally myself, only because I feel that as a Yu-Gi-Oh player, any card that I have a strong attachment to that I want to collect in some way, I'll just kind of get the card. Especially in the case of Dark Magician, where there are some very valuable high rarity versions of this card, and they'll still cost you less than $1,300.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is too, at $1,300, if you're a fan of Dark Magician, put that money towards a DDS one or something.
Yeah, I mean,
like buy like a Dark Duel Stories Dark Magician or an LOB first Dark Magician. Like if you have, I'm not saying actually go out.
Yeah. Go, like, we're not saying go do that.
If you're the type of person who's got so much money that's burning a hole in your pocket, and you've got $1,300 to just drop on this platinum thing, I think you would be better served getting one of the rarer old Dark Magicians and getting that graded.
Now, if you have a Dark Magician collection and you already have your DDS, then this is kind of like the piece de resistance of your collection,
completes
right?
It all and all that.
Because there are like those types of collectors who buy like every single copy of said thing. There's someone out there who has every Dark Magician ever printed and every Dark Magician toy, plush, model kit, or whatever, And so this is the perfect piece for their collection. And I'm sure that was the same way for the Blue Eyes as well.
I think the Blue Eyes was a little bit more popular. Or I don't know how popular this will or won't be. It's not out yet. But I think with the Blue Eyes, I know there's a lot of hype for it. I have not seen the same level of hype for this since the announcement dropped this morning, at least at the time of us recording. A lot of people seem like they just kind of feel like it's not worth it. So,
I mean, the Blue Eyes does have some advantage over Dark Magician as far as popularity goes.
Yeah, it's the Charizard of Yu-Gi-Oh! So
yeah.
I will say, I mean, the people complaining maybe on the internet about this overpriced thing probably aren't the people that are going to buy it anyway. So maybe the true value will be appreciated by
the collectors,
by the collectors or something.
Because I mean, Konami didn't make this product willy nilly. They didn't make it thinking that Joe Blow at the card shop was going to buy it. They already know. They have a good idea of who's going to buy this product already.
Joe Blow.
Those people are going to buy it, and Konami will make the money that they expect to make off of it. More than likely, that's why it's a limited release. They're not pumping out 500,000 of these things. You said there's only 1,000, right?
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
So and at that 1,000, they expect to sell that, and they probably will.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a thing. It's out. I'm not sure that I would really recommend it to anybody except you'll know if this product is for you.
Yeah,
I think is the best way to put it. You'll know if this product is for you. Statistically, it probably isn't.
Just don't feel that. What is it? FOMO.
Yeah, don't let the FOMO.
Don't let that hit you. Not with products like this. We have stuff that are for us in Yu-Gi-Oh! And
$1,300 is a lot of money. Spend that carefully, wisely. Certainly not on this. So, or at least not on this if you are just a regular person. This better be special. Make this count.
It reminds me of my old business classes. Are you really in the market for this product? To be in the market, you have to be willing and able to buy this thing. You can be willing, but are you really able? And if you're able, are you willing?
Now, there's one last little cool product announcement that came out, which is the Mega House figures.
Oh,
these are
fire.
Cool. Yeah, we got to end our products on a good note. So
I want them so bad.
Yeah, for those of you guys who don't know, Mega House has been making, I believe that's what they're called. It roughly translates.
I think it's Mega House.
Yeah, they've been making some
their
Yu-Gi-Oh
monster
figures.
collection, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They've been making Yu-Gi-Oh figures. They did recently Jinzo, Insect Queen, Celtic Guardian, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe Buster Blader, some other things. And now they've announced some, and they really surprised me with this. So I know normally people complain because it's always just DM era pandering.
DM.
But this time they actually went into GX, 5Ds, and even Reigns and Zexal with these models.
Wait, which ones are from Zexal?
They're making, I think there's a Utopia one.
Oh, okay. I don't think I saw.
Yeah, there's a Utopia. There's an access code talker. Figure, and there's even a not Firewall Dark Fluid, but the Arrival Cybers at Ignister.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah,
straight up don't even know what that monster is.
And the Cybers most people won't, but they're even making those, and they're doing Ancient Gear Golem.
So Arc 5 is getting shafted, is what I'm hearing.
I don't know if they're doing an Arc 5.
Arc 5 got shafted.
They might be doing an Odd Eyes. I don't remember. There's 12 at least that got announced.
The ones I saw that I'm looking forward to, the GX ones, I really like seeing Ancient Gear Golem and Bell.
Yeah, Ancient Gear Golem, Bell. I'm gonna get Cyber
and Flame Wingman.
Oh yeah, that one looked cool. I want Cyber End Dragon. I really want Cyber.
You don't even like Cyber End Dragon.
I like Cyber Dragon's closest I'm gonna get.
Show me your deck, and I want to see a Cyber End Dragon in it right now.
If I use one of my sealed Cyber Strike Structure deck video things, I can.
Wow.
Yeah, so those are cool. I think that the pre-orders aren't up yet, though. I think these are just announcements. But there were some pre-orders that went up, I think, for a few others. Maybe it's the Charmer ones or something like that.
Yeah, the Charmers.
They're making so many different figures of Yu-Gi-Oh things now.
Good.
Which is great, by the way. I'm not. That is not.
We've gone too long without figures.
But yeah, lots and lots of Yu-Gi-Oh figures that you can get, and finally, not just DM ones. So.
I think I used to be kind of against the whole figure collecting deal until I started hitting a certain point with my hobbies where I was kind of getting tired, and I didn't really want to collect the hobbies as much as I used to. Collecting Yu-Gi-Oh has been fun, but I don't want to buy and play as much Yu-Gi-Oh as I did when I was younger. But I still want to have something.
something that represents the hobby, right?
Yeah, and that's where figures come in. And now I get it. Now I see why people buy figures for every little thing. And I think these figures are a great value proposition for the aging Yu-Gi-Oh player, or even just a Yu-Gi-Oh player who just likes collecting figures already.
Yeah, this might sound a bit maybe cryptic, but I think that if you're the sort of person who has maybe reached that point with Yu-Gi-Oh, or you feel yourself reaching it where you're not like aged out of it, because I don't think there's like an age where you stop, but just you're maybe at a point where you
can't. In the 70s in a nursing home, like, yeah!
Where you can't like play it maybe as much as you want to, or maybe you're a little bit alienated with like what modern Yu-Gi-Oh is, because trust me, that's easy and it's crazy. But, these I think are a great way to still immortalize your like love and relationship with Yu-Gi-Oh and display it, but not have to like necessarily keep up with every little thing that's going on.
Ancient Gear Golem is bad in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, but that figure will always be badass.
Exactly. And the thing is that figure will always be eternal. Like it's a thing that you can just own and have and like display, and that's really cool. So not to like, get too mopey about it, but I think they're cool for that reason.
When I shut my eyes for the final time at the twilight of my life,
draw my last card.
I would draw my last card and look up at my Ancient Gear Golem figure.
And he'll say, mechanized melee. Okay, so that's all for products. Now, there is some Master Duel news. The ban list, as we know, got like announced last week, so we talked about that. But something that is sort of new, they released some new, what are they, like collection packs or whatever they are.
What's a collection pack? I don't know.
There's new packs in the game. Selection packs. That's what it is. So this one gave a few new cool cards like Blackluster Soldier, the new Ritual one. I forget his name. And like
the one that was in Maze of Memories.
Yeah, the one that was in Maze of Memories.
Okay.
And like Red Eye's Soul, Obelisk got its support card. Like Soul Max or whatever. Breaking Ruin got all those cards. So a few new anime cards basically came in it. Randomly, MX Saber Invoker got unbanned and it's at 1 now.
Let's go! So for those TCG, bring it back.
Like, I don't know, wind-ups. Maybe you can mess around with Zodiacs a little bit.
MX Saber Invoker is about to be in like every deck. What you mean?
Yeah.
So. It sends a card to grave. It
summons one from deck. You're thinking of maybe like...
Oh, I'm thinking Lavalval Chain. You're right. MX Saber Invoker summons one. Still summons an extender.
Earth Warrior or Beast Warrior from your deck. So I'm sure that some combo deck might be able to find a little bit of use for it, but the ban list itself is going to be going into effect on
September. Really was thinking of Lavalval Chain. Now I'm sad.
They're not releasing that.
I want Lavalval Chain back.
So the main ban list is going to be going into effect as of the time of you guys listening to this tomorrow, September 1st, I believe. Or like night
don't let them know what date we're filming.
Sorry, we're filming this in the future. It's, anyway, yeah.
Or 2025.
Like August 31st night. Sometime, whenever the Master Duel ban list update, I'm not really sure. There's one other thing I was going to say. Oh, yeah, okay. So the card usage stats. This is what always causes the controversy.
We know everyone plays Ash, yada, 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 yada.
Yeah, so they updated the stats on card usage that show up if you have that feature enabled in the game. And Maxi and Ash Blossom both increased in use. Maxi went from 91.1% play to 93.8% play. So even higher.
When you think of the sheer amount of games it takes to increase by like 2%.
Yeah, it's quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
like a lot more people still are playing Maxi.
Number.
Ash Blossom went from 85.1% to 88.4%. So it actually jumped even more than Maxi did. I guess as a response to it, I'm not really sure. But the new kid on the block is Kashtira Fenrir, which actually jumped all the way up to the third most played card since its release.
Kashtira winning.
So Kashtira Fenrir has a 64.5% rate of play. And I totally believe that. That bitch is everywhere on Master Duel ranked right now. I hate him.
Well, what rarity is it on Master Duel?
It's a UR.
Oh, okay. At least
but, yeah, so it's seeing a lot of play, I think, for pretty obvious reasons. Fenrir is a good card, but I think in Master Duel's sort of best of one format, it shines even more because it's just so useful going first or second, and you only got to win like one game.
That's true. I mean, previously, I feel like it's a stronger Pankratops, but Pankratops was a card that you had in your side deck mostly back, in the TCG.
Just for going second.
Fenrir it's so much. It's just so solid.
It's so much better. Like it's great for going first. It's great for going second. It gets advantage and it can search another copy of itself, and then it punishes your opponent for like interacting with it.
This Fenrir might be an example of a non-hand trap but monster staple in the main deck.
Yeah, which we haven't had a lot of those in a while. Huh?
And it kind of sucks because it's even better in Kashtira.
Ooh, Kashtira makes it misery. So, of course, the big thing that everyone's really angry about here is how did Max C reach 93.8% rate of play and still not be banned?
Because I think it's supposed to be that high.
Yeah, that's going to be, like, I know not everyone's going to like to hear this, but that's my answer for now. I'm not saying that, like, it's good or bad, but it seems like if a card reaches 93.8% and they still haven't banned it or whatever, done anything to it, it must be by design. Like they must just want it to be this way.
Because it cruised by 70 and 80 and 90. Like, it just cruised through those other percentages.
Now, is that a good thing?
Subjective.
Quite subjective. Now, one other thing that's worth pointing out is they say, and they don't really, elaborate any more on it than this, that these are based on high-ranked duels, which I've taken to mean like diamond and master rank, or maybe platinum, diamond, and master rank. So I know that they are not like counting unranked duels or something.
Yeah, or even just
or like rookie and
bronze
stuff. And all that.
Because in those duels, I don't know if anyone's ever dropped a Max C in me and that low of a
yeah, those are using like starter decks and.
Because guys, I don't even play a lot of Master Duel. So usually when I do play, I have to rank up basically from the bottom again. So I've played through those lower ranks of Master Duel so many times.
It's the gunners.
And I feel like I can count on one hand how many times we've been hand trapped at that level.
Yeah, it gets rough.
It feels wrong to play hand traps when you're ranking up from like silver.
Or just unranked. Like literally like rookie and all that stuff. It's just, so, the Max C thing is what it is. Clearly, Konami does not see much issue with this thing. So for now, we have to deal with it. And
like we do with every other card.
Yeah, like with everything else. I will be playing Master Duel. Either way, I'll just suffer through it.
Yeah, God knows he will.
So something kind of funny, actually, about that, though.
About your obsessive playing of Master Duel?
Well, that hasn't changed. There's nothing new to report on that front. I have been very much just playing Master Duel and getting angry and still queuing up again. But
Paul's gonna go to Worlds next year.
We'll see about that part. But somebody left a funny comment. They were like, "Yeah, like Paul, you should debate Hard Leg Gaming about Maxi, who he's the guy who made he's got this video. You probably haven't seen it, I guess. This is a video he made.
I haven't seen the channel.
Well, Hard Leg Gaming, he made this video where it's like debunking all of the Max C arguments. Like every argument that people have for why Max C could or couldn't be allowed or should be like, allowed, he debunks them. He is kind of a certified Max C hater, you could say. He very much
many
wants
other people.
that card banned. And so it's like this really, well thought out video with a lot of really good reasons for why like Max C is toxic or unhealthy or unbalanced or all these things. And, I find Max C to be fine. It's not the best or the worst thing. It's annoying sometimes, whatever. But it's interesting. I've gotten this reputation now, I guess, as like a Max C defender or like apologist.
Herald and defend Max C.
Yeah, so people are like, y'all should debate. And I'm just like I know in the modern age of content, maybe that's like fun, right? Like debate.
You got to hold it on the same night as a presidential debate.
Yeah.
MBT needs to moderate. Oh, wait a minute, guys. We might have something.
The Max C caucus. But I don't know. My main reason why I don't really want to debate anybody about Max C is because I don't know that either of us are like looking to have our minds change out the card. He does not like it. I do not mind it. So I don't know if there's really like I think the stances maybe don't feel like even there. Because I think what people don't understand about like when I say Max C is just what it is if they ban it, I won't be unhappy. Like if they ban Max C tomorrow in Master Duel,
I'll be unhappy.
Like, doesn't matter to me. But like I'm just saying that it's here. You gotta live with it. And then also like that yeah. I mean that's really it. I just don't have anything else to say. I think that Max C's all right. It's all right. It doesn't bother me as much as it bothers other people. I've got my own set of cards in Master Duel that I hate to death, but even those, I mean, I'm still gonna queue up and play. So, like, listen, I'm in Master rank at this point. Every duel is suffering, no matter what happens.
But let's get back to the question that this person asked: will you debate hard leg gaming on the night of the next presidential debate?
Will that be like what, next year?
I have no idea. I don't keep up.
You know what? If Max C has not been banned in Master Duel by next year, I'll consider it.
You heard it here.
In fact, you know what? In fact, I don't know how many likes these podcast episodes get. If we get like 5,000 likes on this podcast on YouTube, that is not happening. I'll debate him about Max C. Sure, why not? Right. Make it happen.
My personal request
tell Hardleg,
MBT
tell everybody.
Is the moderator.
Yeah, we'll get MBT to moderate. It'll be a whole thing. It'll be great. Yeah. All right. Anyways, that's the Max C or the Master Duel, one and the same news.
Oh, now I realize I do know Hardleg's channel. I have seen his videos.
Yeah. So 5,000 likes. Get that debate. All right. Anyways,
I'm gonna make 5,000 accounts.
That is the Master Duel news. I don't think that there's anything else to speak of, and I think that might be all of the Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm trying to think. Has there been any other like new things?
I don't know. I haven't played Dueling in like 2 weeks now, so now I'm out of the loop again.
Yeah. Well. Cool. Now we can talk about other things.
Yay! Because we're more than just Yu-Gi-Oh players, guys. We're
surprise,
people.
Surprise.
Barely.
All right. You got something?
Yeah. So the IMPD, the Indianapolis, Metropolitan Police Department, recovers $300,000 worth of stolen gaming cards.
Gaming cards?
This might sound a little bit familiar.
Okay.
Because the IMPD said Tuesday that $300,000 worth of gaming cards stolen at Gen Con were located and recovered.
Oh, is this the same cards?
Yes, those same cards.
So they did recover them. What's the story?
So a release said New York State Police assisted in confiscating the cards, and they are in the process of being returned to Indianapolis as evidence. It says evidence because while they have found the alleged perpetrators, they have lawyered up, and so this will now be an
ongoing thing.
Yeah, this is going to be an ongoing thing, though they seemingly have been caught, and at this point, they're just going to be trying to not go to jail for as long.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I remember when the Gen Con story dropped, so...
Oh, and it was confirmed those were Magic the Gathering cards.
Oh.
We thought they were Pokemon.
Okay, yeah. Well, figures. Magic cards, it seems like if you're going to be swiping sealed product, it's the most expensive sealed product to get, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean that or Pokemon or Lorcana now.
Lorcana.
Sealed Lorcana goes for a lot.
Yeah, actually, so we can talk about that real quick. I don't have like a specific story for it, but Lorcana, has released. I have gotten some packs. However, I was not able to secure starter decks, but I was able to get 12 packs. Our local card shop limited you to buying 12 packs, which, by the way, I think is a totally reasonable limitation. I don't want, people buying like 50 billion boxes.
It reminds me of those Pokemon stories from Japan about limiting product.
Yeah, so I was able to get 12 packs. I'm pretty excited. I have not opened them because I kind of wanted to wait until I had like starter decks first.
So, do you have the starter decks?
I don't. I wanted to order some online, but then I found out that the starter decks online are like $33. So... So I have a plug who's going to try to get them for me. The plug being Chris, who's going to try to get them at his locals for like $25 each or something.
A steal.
Maybe they've gone down since then. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it seems like people are selling their Lorcana sealed for a little bit of a markup, you might say.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that a lot with the new card games. That first set is just ravenously bought up and people are trying to hold it. People are trying to flip it. It's a nightmare.
What I don't like is that it's like everyone kind of wants to try to like recreate that. Like, I missed out on LOB back in 2002, so I better grab Lorcana the first chapter in 2023 and like buy 10 boxes and throw them in my closet so that in 40 years, like I'll be able to,
But there's no guarantee that these newer card games and their products will actually hold that much esteem. I think the card game boom actually happened and it's past.
Oh, okay. Hot take.
Yeah, I don't think any new card game that's come out in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I was going to say 10 years.
I don't think any new card game in the last 10 years is going to have the same level of just like gravity as Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering. Those old sets, they're legendary. They'll always command a high price online.
I think it's also like a cultural thing where the perceived the sort of perceived value of like trading cards feels different. And I don't mean value just in terms of money, but like there was just something about like, you know, Jimmy pulled a Charizard card, or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I pulled like a Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Culture has shifted. Like it's not the same anymore. And these companies, they can force as much nostalgia as they want on shelves today. They can make as many crazy products that cost $1,000 as they want, but it will not. Those things they're not going to appreciate the same way as those original, as like base set Pokemon, as LOB Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever the first Magic set was. I couldn't tell you what it's called.
Yeah, like, I think Alpha set or whatever it's called.
Like, and no shade at One Piece, no shade at Shadowverse, no shade at Digimon.
It's interesting because I do think
no shade at Lorcana. I just don't think it's
the modern games have their own value, to be sure. Mm-hmm. In fact, I will say, just to not be like strictly complaining, negative, whatever, my hot take of the day would probably be, I think the card games released here in the last 5 years have all been much better than like the card games released in like early 2000s. Just in terms of mechanics, in terms of like playability, they feel like they're doing, because like we're at a period of time where Magic product seems like it's way too expensive, right?
Oh yeah.
Like it's just everything, Magic stuff is all, you know, hiked up in price. There's no MSRP. Card shops are selling like starter decks for $100 sometimes. It's crazy.
Those are Commander decks.
Or Commander decks or whatever. Commander Masters packs. A single pack is like 20 something.
I wonder what it is now.
Like still close to that, I assume. Maybe it's gone down a little, but and then like Yu-Gi-Oh's got its like sealed product issue where the prices have all been driven down and no one wants to buy the sealed product. So in the meantime, it feels like stuff like One Piece, stuff like Lorcana, Digimon are like able to just be more consistent.
I think new games are starting in a better place than all of our old games did. I think they're just building off the experience and the mentalities around card games. That they've been around for decades now. Mm-hmm. These card games at the start are better than our card games were when they started. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So I think that some of this newer stuff is doing a good job. There's one other thing that I was going to say about that, but I'm just glad they recovered those cards. You know, good for them. I think stealing cards is not cool. Don't do that, please. I've got a story, though.
What you got?
This one's about Pokemon TCG and actually just a little bit of Pokemon in general. Let me find it.
I'm looking at Commander Masters boxes on TCG Player.
What they going for?
$280 to $290 right now.
Well, that's a lot lower. I know before they were like $400 or something.
Yeah. I'm looking at the price trend. Yeah, it was quite high, which, I mean, it's still high, but...
Well, if they're getting any lower, that's at least a plus.
Yeah.
Pokemon doubles prize pools for competitive tournaments.
Double?
So this is actually really big news. I saw like right after the podcast last week. I was wishing we kind of could have talked about it then.
Well, I'm glad because we can talk about it now.
The Pokemon World Championships is getting a big increase in its prize pools, with the prize pool doubling in value and the winners receiving a much larger prize. Today, the Pokemon Company, today being like, this is on August 25th, the Pokemon Company announced some big changes to its regional, international, and world championship tournaments, with the prize pools doubling in size across just about every level of competition. Notably, the prizes for both the VGC, the video games, and the TCG tournaments have received big bumps. The winner of a regional TCG tournament will receive $10,000 for a regional. Now, to contextualize that, my understanding is that Pokemon regionals are closer in size to a YCS. They call it regional, but it's not like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Regional where
they're bigger.
A couple hundred people. It's maybe like closer to 1,000 or something. But yeah, the winner would get $10,000. That's doubled from $5,000. And a VGC winner for VGC Regional would get $6,000. That was previously $3,000. Also, the winners of an international championship TCG tournament will receive $25,000. This was previously $10,000, so it's more than doubled.
Wow.
While the winner of the VGC tournament will receive $15,000. That was previously $5,000. So that's outright tripled. And then finally, the winners of the World Championships will receive $50,000 if they win the TCG Masters tournament and $30,000 if they win the VGC Masters tournament, both of which are double the amount of the 2023 grand prize. Now, that's pretty big news to me.
That's a lot of that's some money. Like,
and those are just the first place things. Like it still falls down. Like second, third, fourth. Like they still get stuff.
Because we were at Worlds this year, and can you imagine if like they would have handed like Paulie Aronson a $50,000 check?
Yep, for like winning. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Like see, because like we talked a little bit before about how winning the Yu-Gi-Oh like World Championship doesn't actually change much for a Yu-Gi-Oh player. You did the most impressive thing a Yu-Gi-Oh player can do, but then you kind of just go back to being a normal Yu-Gi-Oh player afterwards. It's like, but if you get a $50,000 check, though.
Yeah, it brings up that conversation again of like, should Yu-Gi-Oh have cash prizes? And I'm going to actually go on record and say I have slightly changed my mind I've changed my stance on the whole Yu-Gi-Oh cash prizing thing.
Oh.
So previously, you guys might remember, I've said that I think Yu-Gi-Oh probably does not need cash prizing because I think it would make for a more aggressive, hostile kind of play environment. Mm-hmm. More cheaters, more theft, higher prices for cards. I thought that it just was not a great thing. As for why they don't actually do it, I don't know if it's any of those reasons. My understanding is something more along the lines of like it's a licensing, Shueisha, Yu-Gi-Oh agreement, Kazuki Takahashi. This game that just cannot be played for cash. Simply can't. That's my understanding of it. Don't quote me, who knows if that's true. But the point is, I used to think that, well, cash prizes aren't like, they don't need to have it. Plus, it gets rid of like entry prizing and that sort of thing. Or at least in theory, that's what it would do. I don't know if that's exactly how it would play out. I have changed my view on that a bit because since I've been like thinking so much more lately about like this, you want to take a journey with me?
No, actually, I want to stay right here.
Okay, well, we'll take a journey metaphorically then.
I don't like metaphors.
Wow, okay. Well, the journey is, I think every Yu-Gi-Oh player kind of has to you have to find your path in this game.
Your personal destiny?
Your personal destiny, yeah.
Okay.
Like, you have to kind of find, because in this very turbulent time period of Yu-Gi-Oh, and it's really been lasting for years if you want to think about it, like really is, there's a lot of like, I don't want to call it negativity outright, but like, there's the product debacle right now.
Yeah.
There's the modern Yu-Gi-Oh debacle right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's like the short print stuff. There's dissatisfaction with Konami. There's like casual versus competitive. There's, just all ban lists, all these kind of tense things. And like everyone's got like just these different opinions on it. And it's all an amalgamation. And everybody thinks that they're like completely right about every single issue. And like, I know what would be best for Yu-Gi-Oh. And I know.
Well, I'm on a podcast, so I am right.
That's true. You got the mic in front of you.
Yeah, there's a microphone and camera.
So, like everyone's got like these different opinions on it and like there's so much dissatisfaction and all that stuff. I think that it's increasingly important for people to find your own fun in Yu-Gi-Oh and really dwell in that. And when I say that, I mean, if you're going to be a competitive player, if you're going to be a casual player, whatever it is, like you kind of have to find your group, find your fun, and kind of block everything else out. If you want to be a speed duel player, if you want to be like, you want to play the kitchen table with your friends, if you only want to collect the figures and like do nothing else, or if, you want to be at the bleeding edge of the meta, all of it's fine, but like you kind of have to find your own enjoyment out of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because the unfortunate reality that I've kind of learned this past summer when I went to Worlds is like, it's not the grandest experience, right? You guys watching at home, if you watch the World's live streams,
you know what we're talking about.
Kind of got a taste of that. Like those players were playing in what looked like, elementary school empty elementary school classrooms.
But the final stage,
and the finals day was like cool. But we're sitting here watching Pokemon get, double or triple prize pool increases, hard cash. It's weird too because like Pokemon's a kid's property. It's seen as like it's like this fun.
It's more kiddie than Yu-Gi-Oh.
But they're winning, in some cases, life-changing amounts of money for, like winning regional,
But how does cash prizing help people find their way to play Yu-Gi-Oh?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, so yeah, to get back on topic about that, I actually think that if there was cash prizing in Yu-Gi-Oh, I think that it could help to more firmly divide. I don't know if divide is a good word here, but like more firmly define the kind of competitive path, the route towards being a competitive player, what that will entail, what that means, what the light at the end of that tunnel looks like. And I also think then that maybe it would mean for casual players, like extremely casual players who just want to play for fun, just want to enjoy themselves, that like it might, I'm going to say this and y'all are going to think like, just hear me out. Please just hear me out. So I think that it might actually help to like, for a casual person, definitively tell you, I do not want to be a part of that world. Mm-hmm. That world being like extreme nitty gritty, like just sweaty, like blood, sweat, tears, iron, steel, like to get these wins, right? Optimizing every combo, grinding every matchup. Like Paulie Aronson was saying about how he prepared for Worlds, like, giving up socializing in some cases to playtest, and like traveling and stuff. I think that for those people, it gives them a more tangible reward in terms of money, not just some cute little deck box or a prize card you have to sell in your own time.
Some sleeves.
Or some sleeves, but like an actual, like there's money on the line. And for casual players, there would maybe be more respect for it, but like,
I think I see what you're getting at.
Go ahead, yeah. You might
have
better words for
right
this.
now in Yu-Gi-Oh, like if you play the TCG, there's exceptions. There's one path, and that is the advanced format with the current ban list and the current card pool that we use, which is every card that's not banned, essentially. There's one path, and we all pretty much follow it, but we all follow it to different goals. Mm-hmm. Some people are only aiming to compete with their friends. Some people are only aiming to compete at locals. Some people want to go to a YCS every so often. Some people want to go to Worlds. And we all have to share this same lane together, and that causes these conflicts where I'm playing against a guy who wants to practice for the next YCS, but I have my Red Eyes deck, and I only came here because I really just wanted to like play around with my new Red Eyes cards and have a little bit of fun. Mm-hmm. Me and this YCS hopeful should not be on the same path. If there's prizing, that kind of starts pulling apart the path a bit, because now people there will be no more light. I'm kind of competitive. If you're potentially playing for $50,000 or just some amount of money, you're going hard. There is now a competitive path. Like I'm potentially playing for $50,000. I'm going hard. And they will play amongst themselves in their own circuit, in their own lane, and the rest of us know not to get in that way, not to get in their way, not to feel beholden to the advanced format.
Yeah, and I think this also definitely gets into that whole thing about like, I know it's been a popular topic for the last few years of alternate formats and all of that. I think that everybody kind of knows that the current advanced format of Yu-Gi-Oh is a lot. Whether you're in it or out or outside looking in, it's a lot. Long combos, intense things, like games are pretty complicated. There's a lot to keep up with, and it's not the most inviting thing. I'm not saying that any of that is like objectively bad.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong
for the people who are enjoying that. That's good. It's just that I think if we kind of allow that to be the thing where it's like, okay, they can get sweaty, they can grind, right? They don't
have to feel bad about crushing news.
Yeah, we can get less of that whole like, oh, you're a meta sheep, because you wouldn't have like these kind of angry, disenfranchised feeling casuals or Yugi boomers or whatever you want to call them, complaining about like, oh, you're all meta sheep, because the meta sheep are just they're in the sweaty room. This is labeled the sweaty room. You go in here if you're sweaty, and like you're with the other sweaties, and you guys are playing, and you're gods at this game, and it's great and it's amazing. And for anyone else, they don't have to feel like they're having to share that same space, because Yu-Gi-Oh only has advanced format, and like you can really see it beginning to fray at the edges where there's just dissatisfaction because there's like casual people who don't like the advanced format. It's too fast or my deck's not good enough. But even you also see competitive people who kind of feel like, why aren't they banning this card or whatever? And then when someone says, well, they don't ban this because maybe somewhat more casual players might like it. It's like, well, I don't care about the casuals. I want like the competitive integrity to be of the utmost importance. Now, before someone gets angry and types this in the comments, I know that also means that there needs to be, like, if they do this and it serves the competitive crowd, they have like cash prizes and it maybe gates out more casual people, that still means they have to do something to cater to them. And that would ideally be making those alternative formats and doing a better job of marketing and supporting those. So it's definitely like a big undertaking.
Yeah, it's right? It's not a simple fix, right? It's not.
But I just wanted to say that it has changed my view on maybe like having cash prizes could help with that issue.
We're not saying it definitely will or that Konami should do it. They just could do it and it could help.
Yeah, they could do it in a number of different ways, and those ways would have repercussions that could be positive. I word it that carefully because I've noticed actually a lot of people, I make like these Paul Talks videos or we get in this podcast and we start talking, and sometimes people will hear what I say and like kind of get like angry with me or say like, oh, you're being like crazy or you're complaining or being delusional. Most of what I'm saying is like, I word it like that on purpose, right? I am not saying that cash money in Yu-Gi-Oh will make it the perfect game and it'll be good because it will kick all the casual people out and this and no.
Clip that. Oh, you shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, they're gonna clip that. No, what I'm saying is that it could be an improvement.
And I keep telling you, stop worrying about your wording. They're gonna misunderstand you anyway. The people who misunderstand you, they weren't really listening to begin with.
That's true too. Yeah. So, just something to think about. You guys can let me know what you think about this cash prize thing. And for you Pokemon players listening, enjoy your money.
Yeah, right.
Have fun. I don't know how competitive like Pokemon and stuff gets. I don't know if it's like as sweaty as Yu-Gi-Oh is or whatever, but it's certainly nice to see that they're getting an increase in the prize pool because it's sort of funny. Meanwhile, Konami, they recently increased the prices of. There's that one YCS like last weekend that got announced, YCS Dortmund. It's like this one YCS, and they're going to be charging $45.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, they increased.
We might have mentioned this last week.
I don't know if did we talk about it on the pod?
I don't know if we did, but yeah, like this one YCS, it's like a $45 entry instead of like $22.50 or whatever that converts to, like in euros. But people were very upset about that.
That was in Europe. I thought that was in Virginia.
You're cultured. Yeah, people were very upset about that because the prize pool isn't like you get 10 packs now instead of 5. So like your entry is doubled as well.
Oh, but they're Euro packs, so they're not worth as much.
They're worth more. They're better printed, aren't they? But the pricing for the event itself is no different. It's still like a Nintendo Switch and prize card or whatever. So, meanwall, like
is it at least an OLED Switch?
I sure hope so.
Please, Konami, at least make it an OLED.
It wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't. I mean, that's the Yu-Gi-Oh way. So yeah, Pokemon gets more prize money. Good for them. Must be nice. All right. You got another story?
This one isn't really a card game story.
Oh, okay.
But it's a strategic game. It's a board game of some type. This is actually a story that Paul and I had talked about before, but it was before we had the podcast. I'm pretty sure we would have talked about it here had it happened while we had the podcast. But see, I'm going to read the headline, Paul, and you can tell me if this rings any bells. Chess World's anal bead cheating saga quietly comes to an end.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, guys, if you didn't hear about this, so some months ago, former world champion Magnus Carlsen had a confrontation with Grandmaster Hans Niemann, where pretty abruptly Magnus resigns from a game with Niemann and leaves the tournament. And my understanding is he doesn't really do that. And later makes a not so cryptic tweet hinting that he believes Niemann was cheating in their set. Or in their game, or whatever you call a chess match. I guess in their chess match. Well, that led to a huge back and forth where another grandmaster, Nakamura, was also jumped in there. And then Neiman was suing them and like chess.com for slander because allegedly Neiman had been cheating on games online before. And there was no actual evidence that Neiman had cheated in person. And you might be wondering how anal beads got involved.
Yeah, that was because one of the accusations, right?
Yeah, people weren't really sure how Neiman cheated. Some people believe that because Magnus believes that Neiman, or believed that Neiman had cheated, so they're like, well, if Magnus believes that, he had to have been doing it. But at these chess tournaments, security is extremely tight, and Neiman couldn't have cheated in any like conventional manner. And so someone on social media floated the idea that maybe he had vibrating anal beads that helped him figure out the proper play.
Proper moves. Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember hearing about all of this. I watched like the Mogul Mail or whatever on it. That's intense. So I guess it got concluded.
Yes. So this is chess.com, I believe. Chess.com, they jumped in because they were also being sued by Neiman. It says Chess.com and Carlsen reached a settlement with Neiman, who had sued them and Twitch streamer Hikaru Nakamura for $100 million over what he alleged was a civil conspiracy to defame him. It says, we are pleased to report that we have reached an agreement with Hans Neiman to put our differences behind us and move forward together without further litigation. That's what chess.com said. So as a result, Neiman will once again be allowed to compete on the online chess platform. He had been banned. And Carlsen has even agreed to play with him in the future because, if I remember correctly, Neiman and Carlsen met up at a different tournament. I think it was on chess.com. And Carlsen
just refused to play.
Yeah, he just resigned and didn't play.
What if like... I know one other thing about that is I think that they had like a kind of a big inspection, like a third party. There was a third party or someone came in.
It was a huge controversy. They were trying to find a way for Neiman to have cheated. Because if Magnus Carlsen, one of the greatest chess players of this century, if he says you're cheating, you have to give that he says someone's cheating, you have to kind of give that some shake. Like credit. And so they looked into it. And as of right now, there has been absolutely no evidence that Neiman cheated. The only evidence there is that Neiman made a very good move, allegedly against Magnus. I don't know. I'm not even good enough at chess to evaluate what happened that day. I remember watching videos and stuff.
Like grandmasters or whatever.
Yeah, grandmasters, the very best chess players in the world.
Cool.
They are thinking in dimensions of chess that I haven't even conceived.
A billion steps ahead.
But I don't know, I just thought it was an interesting story. Yu-Gi-Oh! Strategic, chess is strategic.
I mean, I wonder if like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Controversy could ever get that deep.
Deep, but not like big, right?
Yeah, I don't think it would ever be like super mainstream.
Do you think a Yu-Gi-Oh! Player would insert anal beads into themselves and so that someone can remotely, I guess, Morse code plays to them?
I don't know if I want to answer that. Because the thing is, it does make me think. I mean, I've seen some like, heard of some really like weird sort of cheating scandals and stuff in Yu-Gi-Oh! So, I mean, like, while I don't know that anal beads are or aren't on the table, I have heard about other things.
They wouldn't be on the table. They'd be in the...
Yeah, they wouldn't be on the table, huh? Yeah, I mean, I know like with Yu-Gi-Oh! Though, there's always a controversy around like, even just like remote duel, like kind of witch hunts and stuff.
Witch hunts, they be cheating in remote duels.
Yeah, that's what they say. I mean, I know Konami changed the policy around like reporting cheating. So you are no longer allowed to like report, just make a claim that a person is cheating or something like that. Someone, don't quote me, but I just know that like that's the general policy change that they have. It was, I think, meant to cut down on like just people just said like you cheated and like witch hunt, right? Right. Especially if somebody like with a larger platform says that like some random person was cheating.
I feel like it should go similar to the like challenge system in like NFL and like the NBA. If you believe your opponent's cheating and you call a judge over to verify had they been cheating or not, I think there should be a penalty if the judge says, no, he wasn't cheating.
I don't know, though, because, I mean, like, I think the penalty should only. I would say like this is not like Yu-Gi-Oh, just kind of in general. To simply think that maybe they are cheating and ask I think that is like an innocent thing. Like if there's something like that happens, that's fine. Because if they aren't cheating and there's no like hard feelings and you weren't like angry at them, and you're just like, oh, I'm just questioning something. You should be like encouraged to just sort of like ask questions or sort of verify things. But isn't that
what Konami's trying to cut down on? Is all the asking questions?
Well, what they're trying to cut down on, I think, is like the like accusations after the fact.
Oh, after
where like kind of right after a regional or YCS, people will like get on certain Facebook groups or something and maybe say, you know, like this player cheat, like he sharked here and like he stacked me here, and then now on these Facebook groups or Discord servers or Reddit or Twitter or whatever, now like people are taking sides and like all this stuff, and I think they're trying to cut down on that. I think that like within the tournament at the judge table, you're totally within your right to like call a judge over and just
can
ask
you
for
retroactively like I'm not understanding
apparently
this problem.
You used to be able to.
How would you prove anything like after the tournament's over?
Great question. Don't know. I'm this is just stuff that I've like. I really should just keep my mouth shut about this stuff because I don't really know. Like I see people on the internet always arguing over that sort of thing.
They argue about everything on the internet, even conspiracy theories.
Yeah, so I mean, like
anal beads.
Yeah, like anal. So I mean, from the stuff that I've heard, maybe an anal bead Yu-Gi-Oh conspiracy is on the way.
Yeah, well, we just talking about a potential cash prize of like $50,000.
Yeah, there might be more anal beads.
At that point, someone might be like, "Look, bro, just lube them up first." I don't know.
Yeah. As long as hey, anything to get the dub. Right?
No. We don't believe in that. We don't condone cheating. We wouldn't cheat.
I would not cheat, but also I certainly would not cheat with anal beads.
Konami, please don't ban us. Though to be fair, I don't really play in many big events anyway. So,
yeah. I think that's all the stories I had.
Yeah, I mean that was all I had.
Yeah, that's all. Okay. Cool. Time to
let's talk to the pod.
Do some pod. I'm gonna pull some questions.
Got
cards
one.
Each, duelists.
Oh, okay. This is a simple one.
Okay.
So, Paul, what is your favorite bad archetype?
Everyone I play.
Paul does specifically try and play bad decks.
I'm a masochist.
Ooh, you've been playing one specifically lately that I just did not think you would find any success.
Are you talking about Dogmatic or are you talking about Generator?
You know which one I'm talking about.
It could actually be either one.
Between those two decks, which one's worse?
I don't know.
Wow.
Actually, okay. So I haven't played Generator lately on Master Duel. It sucks. Don't use it. However, I have fun with it. And like, to its credit, it can do a few cute things. Mm-hmm. I'm in Master Rank, and like I'm literally getting my ass beat with this deck. Like, but then sometimes I randomly win. Like sometimes
with the generators in Master.
These generators, like I'm just beating like Labyrinth and like these branded decks and stuff.
They have no business doing
really
that.
Really weird. I feel like this deck has no business doing that well. But I do have a thing in Yu-Gi-Oh where I like to play decks that kind of are a little not like handicapped, but just have like an alternate or just like a weird win con. Mm-hmm. But I'm so big on like I don't want to play a deck where I just end on Barone and Apollosa.
Yeah,
like I want my end. Like my favorite thing about playing Dogmatica is that I get to end on their ritual monsters. Like that's all that's important to me. So yeah, either of those decks would be like two pretty awful decks I've used. I think if we're talking like just truly bottom of the barrel, I tried to build an S-Force deck and I tried to build a Magistus deck. And those are actually bad.
Yeah, when Paul won't even play them, they're truly hard.
And I've got patience for bad decks, but those anyway. What's yours?
So I don't really play bad decks. I don't. Okay. The decks that I play, I think they're all rogue at best. I mean, it's like what I play Neos, I play Ninjas, I play Plunder Patrol. I play Spriggans, which was kind of like a branded Spriggans thing at this point. Anyway, I don't know if I call any of those decks bad.
I think a lot of them were bad when you started using them, and then they've
got better. And I have two more decks on the horizon. I want to build in like an Evil Tile deck, and I want to build a Battling Boxer deck. One of those decks might truly be bad. I know Battling Boxers and Evil Tile were bad.
Yeah, now they're like all right.
They might be just okay at this point. So if I had to give it to a truly just bad archetype that I enjoy, maybe like Amazonas.
I remember when you played Dream Mirror.
I just didn't like Dream Mirror.
Although they're a lot better now.
Because like if I enjoyed Dream Mirror, it'd be different, but I didn't. But I actually do enjoy playing the Amazonas deck, and I think that would be considered bad. Like I don't. True. They're not winning much.
True. Well, my question is, should Yu-Gi-Oh have a special summon?
Oh, wait, I just changed it. Oh. It's now Fire Fist, because even though I hate them now, I still like Panda.
So my question is, should Yu-Gi-Oh have a special summon limit? This is kind of the age-old.
Yeah.
Kind of question. All right, well, I think that our answers have probably not really changed in this regard. It probably wouldn't really work out. But there is a new development that I found out about last week that somewhat might be of note of interest. Said something? So Konami actually in 2015, little did I know, did try out or experiment with a format called beta format. Laugh all you want, but that's what it was called. It was called beta format. And the way that it worked was that a player did have a summon limit. You were allowed one normal summoner set, one special summon from the extra deck, and then one special summon otherwise. That could be from hand, deck, grave, banished.
So essentially you get two special summons, just one has to be from the extra deck.
Yeah, so sort of specific places. So it was sort of a summon limit in Yu-Gi-Oh! They actually tried this in 2015 at like a YCS Chicago or something. There was some YCSs in Europe that used it. It was not a very popular format, and they like stopped it less than a year later.
I can see that having been implemented in 2015 because that's Xyz's format, and
well, it was like Pendulum at that point.
Was 2015 Pendulum?
Yeah, Pendulums came in 2014.
Oh, okay. I gave my years.
But I mean, but Xyz were still pretty big back then, so you know that was what it was. Any thought? Do you think that could be like a fun thing, or?
I mean, I would have to try it. I'd have to try it. I gotta know which of my decks could work in a format like that. My knee jerk, ninjas. What about during your opponent's turn? How many summons do you get?
I think you're still 3. Like,
okay.
So I thought that this could actually be a really cool format.
I played ninjas.
I posted it online. I was like, hey, here's these like old rules. Konami apparently try this. What do people think? People are all like, what the hell, Paul, you dumbass. This will be terrible. So that was the general response on like Facebook and Twitter and stuff. So I thought this could be kind of neat, but apparently people don't think so. Now, without going into too much detail, I'll say that I think that there's like promise and potential here. Obviously, it would probably develop its own sort of metagame and might even need its own specific ban list.
Yeah, different archetypes would flourish under that rule set.
But the thing is, so my first point, like my argument for maybe giving it a shot again, if Konami ever wanted to, is that people were like, this would be like unfair because some archetypes like can't function on those rules and some will be buffed and some will be nerfed. And I was like, well, yeah, that's kind of the point of like an alternate format is that some decks will be stronger in this format and some will be weaker. So if the goal is simply to have an alternative way to play relative to just the advanced format, then yeah, it's going to look a little different. The second thing that people said was that, well, stun decks and trap decks will just be OP and that'll be the end of it, right? Like you'll just be able to play your like Inspector Border, Fossil Dyna, Guru Control, you know, whatever, Eldritch, just set all your traps and never care about anything else. Now that I think
about it, wouldn't decks like that have less value? Since a lot of trap decks, you know, they're overtuned for stopping these heavy combo decks. Mm-hmm. But if this format is literally like putting a hard stop to just combos, then some of what trap decks do will be unnecessary.
It's funny you mentioned that. That's exactly how I feel about it too. I also thought that if those decks were to become the best decks, let's say, as everybody assumed, well, then you start playing spell and trap removal in the main deck, right? Like there would be a metagame that would happen, and then you would adapt to it.
Oh, we run less extenders too because you'd be with combos being stopped. There's no point in running that many extenders.
Isn't it crazy how when you stop and think about it for just more than about a split-second reaction, you realize that, hey, you can replace some of the extenders in these decks with removal cards instead for dealing with back row. And if people, you know, if you think the trap decks are going to be the best thing, But now everyone's main decking Lightning Storms and Evenleys or even Twin Twisters and all that. And Heavy Storm Duster is suddenly a really good card because it's a chainable +1 and games go a lot longer. And like losing that battle phase doesn't mean as much and traps can be more viable as like a general form of removal. Then maybe there could actually be a whole conversation to be had here.
Maybe. I can see
that. The trap decks would just be busted, huh? Yeah, so I think that a format like that, there's potential. It's a thing that Konami tried. Maybe they should try it again. Or maybe it would be a shit show. Who knows?
All right. I have my next question. Okay, this is going to take some effort. It says, what is my favorite part of the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG? And then what's my least favorite part? Okay. All right. Oh, my gosh. Right. I feel like there's too many answers to this question. Okay.
So it's our favorite part of the TCG
and then least favorite part. So my favorite part of the TCG is that any archetype or deck that I like can still receive support at almost at any time. So there's always interest in new products because anything can happen. Mm-hmm. And then I think my least favorite part is how I don't feel that I have a format to play those decks in the TCG. What you got, Paul? Favorite and least favorite?
I'm just trying not to talk too much.
Paul trying to avoid a rant.
My favorite part about the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG is that despite all of the stuff, it's pretty fun. It's actually really fun. Like I do like playing Yu-Gi-Oh! To this day. I still enjoy it. I still like using a lot of different decks. I think that when the game is just playing out, Yu-Gi-Oh's got really fun rules. Mm-hmm. And that, like, while it's changed and morphed and stuff, I do still fundamentally find that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a fun game to play. There are other games that I've played where I'm just not as engaged with them, and they just don't keep my interest, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Still does. So I do think Yu-Gi-Oh! As a game is fun. I think its rules are fun. I think its card interactions are fun. It's fun to kind of, like, tango with the opponent. My least favorite thing.
Here it comes.
Well, I'm trying to limit it to one. I'm trying to limit it to one. My least favorite thing is the Vortex.
Lightning Vortex?
I love Lightning Vortex. It's just the fact that sometimes it feels like with Yu-Gi-Oh! There is the end game is unclear. And it feels like there's not like much of a like beginner kind of onboarding element. It's just
two things.
It's like one thing is the vortex in the middle is what I don't like because I feel like what we were talking about earlier. See the earlier part in the podcast. I'm not going to go over it again. I'm not going to rant. I promise. Is just the kind of the general like just dissatisfaction and feeling that we just need something more. Mm-hmm. Whether that's another format, whether that's like some people say a reboot. It feels like there's just like this tension from all sides, but we can never quite like land on what it is that like this game needs.
It sounds like your least favorite part about Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG is being a Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG player.
All right, well, next question. We've answered this.
What is it? I don't know.
Can the OCG and the TCG merge?
Oh yeah, we definitely answered that. Sometimes we get redundant questions, and I don't always remember.
No, just to quickly answer that. I'd love it, but logistically, no. Okay, actual question. Low-tier decks need in-archetype hand traps.
It's like a hot take.
Yeah, okay. What do you think?
In-archetype. You know what's crazy? Like, it's almost a good idea. Like, there's like a little bit something I think it needs.
Okay.
Because, archetypes only get so many cards of support in a set, and to then dedicate one of those slots to a quote-unquote hand trap, where it's no longer, like, working towards the deck's, like, win condition, I think that overall actually might make, like, the archetype, not as good.
So I think that's a pretty good idea as having an archetype hand traps. It all depends on how they're designed and how much like flavor they can keep within the rest of an archetype. I think an in-archetype hand trap should accomplish two things. I think that it should fulfill the role of like a hand trap where it can maybe
Stop something.
Stop something, protect your monster, kind of disrupt your opponent, whatever, from your hand, while you control a monster of said archetype or something on the field, right? But it also should still serve the archetype in another way of some kind.
Like if it hits the grave, it does the thing that the archetype needs it to do.
Yeah. So I think that you could have a lot of fun with that, because then people wouldn't have to feel like they have to play, Ash and Droll and Valor and Nibiru and Perm and all that in all of their decks, or Maxi if you're playing Master Duel or whatever. Because you could play your in-archetype hand traps, and they could kind of offer slightly different things.
Oh, man. Punter Patrol would love that. They don't even need it to, do much.
Oh, change their opponent's monster attribute maybe, and then...
barely that. Just give it a Punter Patrol-esque effect of when it has an effect when it goes to grave.
I mean, I was thinking, ninjas could have a hand trap that's like a Pitch, Book of Moon. I'm surprised I haven't made a hand trap like that to begin with.
Just flip it down.
Or, and so it still needs to synchronize with the archetype.
Someone in Konami R&D is screaming right now because they're designing like a ghost girl who flips your opponent's monster's face down, and they're like, how did he know? How did he know?
I'm surprised that hasn't been a hand trap. But yeah, I mean, I think in archetype hand traps could be cool. There was something that somebody was saying in a comment before that's sort of related to this. It reminded me about it.
Might be the same person.
More archetypes need just their own kind of built-in removal card that can sort of double as something else for their archetype. So do you know the card Sprite Smashers?
Yeah.
I think it's a really good example of one. It's a quick play spell, so it's very versatile. It's a -1 in card advantage. It can be more than that, but you have to banish something to even use it, and then it lets you say banish a level 2 and then one of your opponent's cards. It doesn't target, so it's kind of nice. It's a versatile removal card that can fulfill a lot of sort of different roles for the deck. And then this person was saying that more archetypes need that sort of thing, where it could allow them to deal with troublesome back row, floodgates, that sort of thing, while also maybe advancing their strategy if it needs to, but not being so strong that it's just a Mary Sue.
Odd Eyes Spiral Flame Strike card, where it can search for an Odd Eyes, but if you have an Odd Eyes on board, it can target and destroy something.
Right. Because I think that those sort of double use cards can be really fun. I think of what was that one card? Frozen Rose or something? I don't
remember what it does. I can see it in my head, but I don't remember what it does.
Yeah, just any of those cards that are they're quick play spells usually, and they can kind of fulfill 2 roles. I think that would be fun. I mean, I think that it just helps to keep archetypes feeling flavorful. And by flavorful, I mean it still is in the archetype. It's not something that but
it also has utility, just general good utility.
And if that has to take the form of a hand trap, I wouldn't mind.
I mean, we're a game full of them. I mean, they're not going away.
So, good question, or rather prompt. I agree with it. Low tier decks specifically, they do say low tier decks, and I agree. I think it's probably better that low tier decks get these before
But a high tier deck can get that first. I mean,
what's interesting these days is half the high tier decks do have their own hand traps. Brandon's got Mercurier.
Oh yeah, Mercurier.
Tier Elements have.
Tier
Elements.
they are
basically
the
our hand traps. Bestials are hand traps. So, yeah, good take. I'm with it.
W take, King.
Yeah. Common, insert your username here, W.
All right. But those are our 2 questions each, right?
Yeah, that's 2 each.
So, guys, I think that brings the pod to a close. And shout out to the camera. You stayed on.
Yeah, this camera be turning off sometimes. Yeah, cool. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. This was a really fun one. Make sure that you leave your comments on any of the questions or topics or things that we thought up today. Be sure, of course, to subscribe to APS Amplifier. And we'll see you guys next week.